Hey guys, it's Ellie. Welcome back to Bite Size, the Book of Mormon. I'm glad to have you with me. So, if you've never been here before, this is just a podcast where I read through one chapter of the Book of Mormon each episode, and I give a little bit of context, a little bit of insight, a little bit of good times, so stick around. So, if you remember last episode, we read Ether chapter 2, which is where the Jaredites, led by Jared and his brother, known as the brother of Jared, very creative, they lead the people into the wilderness. After the Tower of Babel falls and everyone else's language gets confounded, they leave. God leads them on a journey, and they hit the coast. They hang out there for 4 years, and then God kind of kicks them back into gear and says, hey, we're going to build some boats, we're going to cross this ocean. And so they build the boats, and the brother of Jared is like, hey, so in the boats that we have right now, we can't see and we won't be able to breathe. So there are some issues. And for the second question, God says, well, put in these windows in the top and the bottom, and then you can open them at certain times and you'll be able to breathe. It'll be fine. And then for the first question, the issue of being able to see in the boats, that issue of light, he says, what do you want me to do? Like, what would you have me do to solve this question? And that's where the chapter ends. So last episode, we kind of had a cliffhanger. So if you haven't listened to the last chapter, go ahead and do that, because the question that got asked there is going to be answered in this chapter. So yeah, I think without further ado, let's answer God's question in Ether chapter 3. And it came to pass that the brother of Jared, now the number of the vessels which had been prepared was 8, went forth unto the mount, which they called the Mount Shalem, because of its exceeding height, and had molten out of a rock 16 small stones, and they were white and clear, even as transparent glass. And he did carry them in his hands upon the top of the mount, and cried again to the Lord, saying, O Lord, thou hast said that we must be encompassed about by the floods. Now behold, O Lord, and do not be angry with thy servant because of his weakness before thee, for we know that thou art holy and dwellest in the heavens, and that we are unworthy before thee. Because of the fall, our natures have become evil continually. Nevertheless, O Lord, thou hast given us a commandment that we must call upon thee, that from thee we may receive according to our desires. Behold, O Lord, thou hast smitten us because of our iniquity, and hast driven us forth. For these many years we have been in the wilderness, nevertheless thou hast been merciful unto us. O Lord, look upon me in pity, and turn away thine anger from this thy people, and suffer not that they shall go forth across this raging deep in darkness. But behold, these things which I have molten out of the rock. And I know, O Lord, that thou hast all power, and can do whatsoever thou wilt for the benefit of man. Therefore, touch these stones, O Lord, with thy finger, and prepare them that they may shine forth in darkness, and they shall shine forth unto us in the vessels which we have prepared, that we may have light while we shall cross the sea. Behold, O Lord, thou canst do this. We know that thou art able to show forth great power, which looks small unto the understanding of men. So, this is the brother of Jared's solution. He moltened 16 stones out of rock, one for each end of each barge, and he comes to God and he says, can you touch these so that they will glow, so that we can see? And that is couched in like 6 verses of, I'm not going to say overdone or excessive, but leaning that way, humility. He's like, God, I know you're above us. I know that we are iniquitous in your eyes. We have this fallen nature and you're perfect and you live in heaven. And I know that I'm nothing in your sight, but can you please touch these rocks? Because in last chapter, God chastened the brother of Jared for not praying to him for 4 years because he said that he forgot to call on the name of the Lord. And so now I think he's like overly careful. He's like very, very aware of the power of God, and he's trying to be very, very careful with said power of God. But stepping back from that for a little bit, to kind of couch this in the context of last chapter, the brother of Jared came to God with 2 questions. God answered one of them, and for the other one, God said, what do you want me to do? Give me a solution and I will help you. And so what the brother of Jared does is he himself moltens, like I said, these 16 stones and polishes them to be as clear as glass. And then he approaches God and he says, I know you have power, that you can make these glow. I know you can do this. And that faith, I think, is the only reason that this gambit worked. That this idea that he's presenting to God worked. Because we know, having read the entire Book of Mormon to this point, that faith precedes miracles. Faith precedes signs. Faith comes first always. And it seems like the brother of Jared has extreme faith. He's like, I know that you have all power. I know that you can do this. So please do this for me, Father. And I think that that show of faith is really what allowed God to work the way that he did. Which, I mean, of course, spoiler alert, God does indeed touch the stones. Like, it works. This is what happens. And I think his approach, like I said, of just approaching God being like, I know you can do this, and I have faith that you can and that you will. I think that is something that we can do in our lives. That we can approach God with solutions to our own problems and be like, hey, I know that you can consecrate this. I know that you can bless this. I know that you have power to help me with this, Father. So please, would you? And I think approaching life like that, with that concrete faith that he can help you, I think that's a powerful thing. And it came to pass that when the brother of Jared had said these words, behold, the Lord stretched forth his hand and touched the stones one by one with his finger. And the veil was taken from off the eyes of the brother of Jared, and he saw the finger of the Lord, and it was as the finger of a man, like unto flesh and blood. And the brother of Jared fell down before the Lord, for he was struck with fear. And the Lord saw that the brother of Jared had fallen to the earth, and the Lord said unto him, Arise, why hast thou fallen? And he saith unto the Lord, I saw the finger of the Lord, and I feared lest he should smite me, for I knew not that the Lord had flesh and blood. And the Lord said unto him, Because of thy faith thou hast seen that I shall take upon me flesh and blood, and never has man come before me with such exceeding faith as thou hast. For were it not so, ye could not have seen my finger. Sawest thou more than this? And he answered, Nay, Lord, show thyself unto me. And the Lord said unto him, Believest thou the words which I shall speak? And he answered, Yea, Lord, and I know that thou speakest the truth, for thou art a God of truth, and canst not lie. And when he had said these words, behold, the Lord showed himself unto him, and said, Because thou knowest these things, ye are redeemed from the fall. Therefore ye are brought back into my presence. Therefore I show myself unto thee. Behold, I am he who was prepared from the foundation of the world to redeem my people. Behold, I am Jesus Christ. I am the Father and the Son. In me shall all mankind have life, and that eternally, even they who shall believe on my name, and they shall become my sons and my daughters. And never have I showed myself unto man whom I have created, for never has man believed in me as thou hast. Seest thou that ye are created after mine own image? Yea, even all men were created in the beginning after mine own image. Behold, this body which ye now behold is the body of my spirit, and man have I created after the body of my spirit. And even as I appear unto thee to be in the spirit, will I appear unto my people in the flesh. And now, as I, Moroni, said, I could not make a full account of these things which are written, therefore it sufficeth me to say that Jesus showed himself unto this man in the spirit, even after the manner and in the likeness of the same body, even as he showed himself unto the Nephites. So this is a very important event. The first time that Jesus Christ shows himself to man. Remember, this is not too long after the fall of the Tower of Babel, so in the chronology of Scripture, this is really, really early on. And this is the first time that someone has seen the spirit body of Jesus Christ. Now, of course, he doesn't have a physical, literal body yet. He doesn't have actual flesh and blood because he hasn't been born of Mary yet. But his spirit body is in the same image of that body that he will eventually have. He looks like he has flesh and blood. So this is the pre-Christ Christ, interestingly enough. And what's so interesting is two things. First, that the brother of Jared was surprised that God had a body, or that he would have a body, or the concept that God looked like him. And second, the fact that the veil was only able to be taken off of the brother of Jared's eyes because of his great faith. That's said multiple times. Like Jesus Christ says in verse 15, never has man believed in me as thou hast. And also earlier than that in verse 9, because of thy faith thou hast seen that I shall take upon me flesh and blood. And never has man come before me with such exceeding faith as thou hast. So clearly, it is the faith that the brother of Jared had that allowed that veil to be taken off. Like I said earlier, faith comes before everything. The brother of Jared approached God knowing that he could make those rocks that he brought to him glow. And then he did. And he knew that God was real and that he could touch the stones, and he saw it happen. And then he was like, holy crap, I didn't know you had a body. This is crazy. And God says, do you want to see the rest of me? Basically. And the brother of Jared says, oh my goodness, yes. And then God shows himself to him and explains some of what he is to the brother of Jared. And verse 14 is kind of that proclamation. This is who I am. He says, I am he who was prepared from the foundation of the world to redeem my people. Behold, I am Jesus Christ. I am the Father and the Son. In me shall all mankind have life, and that eternally, even they who shall believe on my name, and they shall become my sons and my daughters. So that is how Jesus Christ identifies himself. And remember, this is before he's born into a physical body, so he has a spirit body that looks like his physical body, which is an interesting detail that I think was very important, because that's just how the chronology lines up. He didn't have a body yet. And what I find so entertaining is, if you know me at all, you know that I love when Mormon kind of peeks his head into the record and gives a little bit of commentary and then leaves again, and lets the record keep speaking for itself. And now that Mormon's dead, we have Moroni doing that. And in verse 17, he says, I, Moroni, said I could not make a full account of these things which are written, therefore it sufficeth me to say that Jesus showed himself unto this man in the spirit, blah, blah, blah. So he's like, so I can't write down the whole thing. But, to sum it all up, Jesus showed himself unto the brother of Jared, and it was like super cool and stuff. And so I love that in this record there's this crazy event happening, the first time that God shows himself to one of his creations ever. And then Moroni comes in and kind of cuts it short and goes, well, I can't put in the whole story, but like, here's the gist. You know? There's something super hilarious about that. And he ministered unto him even as he ministered unto the Nephites, and all this that this man might know that he was God, because of the many great works which the Lord had shown unto him. And because of the knowledge of this man, he could not be kept from beholding within the veil. And he saw the finger of Jesus, which when he saw, he fell with fear, for he knew that it was the finger of the Lord, and he had faith no longer, for he knew, nothing doubting. Wherefore, having this perfect knowledge of God, he could not be kept from within the veil. Therefore, he saw Jesus, and he did minister unto him. And it came to pass that the Lord said unto the brother of Jared, Behold, thou shalt not suffer these things which ye have seen and heard to go forth unto the world, until the time cometh that I shall glorify my name in the flesh. Wherefore, ye shall treasure up the things which ye have seen and heard, and show it to no man. And behold, when ye shall come unto me, ye shall write them and shall seal them up, that no one can interpret them, for ye shall write them in a language that they cannot be read. And behold, these 2 stones will I give unto thee, and ye shall seal them up also with the things which ye shall write. For behold, the language which ye shall write I have confounded. Wherefore, I will cause in my own due time that these stones shall magnify to the eyes of men those things which ye shall write. And when the Lord had said these words, he showed unto the brother of Jared all the inhabitants of the earth which had been, and also all that would be, and he withheld them not from his sight, even unto the ends of the earth. For he had said unto him in times before, that if he would believe in him, that he could show unto him all things. It should be known unto him, therefore, the Lord could not withhold anything from him, for he knew that the Lord could show him all things. And the Lord said unto him, Write these things, and seal them up, and I will show them in mine own due time unto the children of men. And it came to pass that the Lord commanded him that he should seal up the 2 stones which he had received, and show them not, until the Lord should show them unto the children of men. So that is the chapter. This is fascinating. So after basically seeing God, God says, hey, so like, I want you to write this down, but like, write it in this language and like seal it up so like no one will see it. Like this is going to be kind of a thing between you and I until I cause this to come back for people to read this. And so I'm going to give you these rocks. They're going to be these interpreters, and you're going to keep them with your records. And then when the time comes, I'm going to have it be interpreted. And then he shows the brother of Jared everything. He gives him a vision of everything that has been, everything that is, and everything that will be. And what's interesting is he's already seen God. He's already seen Jesus Christ, and now he's seeing everything. The reason that he was able to see God was because of his faith. And the reason that he got this great vision of everything, which, by the way, is earth-shatteringly mind-blowing, is also because of his faith. And I want to step back and emphasize something. This whole chapter has been this amazing connection with God. The brother of Jared is seeing everything. He's seeing God. He's getting his prayers answered by having those rocks glow. And this is the same guy who got chastened by God for not praying to him for 4 entire years just last chapter. And so when you think, my faith isn't good enough to get a real connection with God, I would like to say unto you, that is bullcrap. Because this person, this brother of Jared, our dear Mahonri Moriancomer, just got chastened by God. He basically got yelled at, saying, you have not been praying to me. for 4 years. He was idle for 4 years. And yet, he was still able to see the finger, the body, and the vision from Jesus Christ. So if you think, oh, my faith isn't great because I fell away for this many years, or I was an atheist until recently, like, no. The brother of Jared's faith isn't perfect. His record is not unblemished. And yet, he has such a level of conviction and knowledge that God, like it said, could not keep him outside of the veil. His faith essentially forced him past the veil to see God. It's interesting that it's worded that way, that he could not be kept without the veil. His eyes could no longer be shielded from the divine. And it's because of his faith. His faith had, in fact, as it says, crystallized into knowledge. He is so far beyond faith, and yet he just forgot to pray to God for 4 years, not that long ago. And so I say again, if your testimony feels weak because of your bumpy record, because your non-linear progress, who cares? Like, politely, with so much respect, who cares? Pray to God, expect an answer, know that he has the power to answer your question, that he has the power to show himself to you in whatever way makes sense to you. And so, yeah, I think your faith is more powerful than you give it credit for. I also have this same problem where I think my faith is nothing, when in reality, the very fact you're listening to this podcast shows that you've got something. Even if you're just here for curiosity, there's something, you know? Faith as a mustard seed. You know how big a mustard seed is? It's itty bitty. So anyways, trust in your faith. You have more than you think you do. Give yourself some credit. And the brother of Jared's name is Mahanu Moriankamur. This is very important information that you need to know. So, anyways, and their boats are tight like unto a dish. Also information that you need to know. This is very important. So the stand-up verse for this chapter is going to be verse 12, which says, "And he answered, Yea, Lord, I know that thou speakest the truth, for thou art a God of truth, and canst not lie." So this is in the middle of the interaction between God and the brother of Jared, after the brother of Jared has seen the finger of God, but before he's been shown the rest of him. So God is basically kind of asking him some questions like, hey, are you going to believe what I say? Like, you do have this kind of faith so I can show you who I am? Like, you know, are we good? And this is just another example of the brother of Jared just proclaiming his faith. He's like, yeah, God, I know that you can't lie, and so I'm going to believe what you say. And it's not like a, hey, I've read in the scriptures that you can't lie, but like, I don't know, you're God, I feel like you can kind of do everything you want. It's not that. It's a, I know you can't lie because you are a God of truth, so I will believe you. So that is faith in action. He knows this principle from the teachings of the gospel and from the scriptures, and he's applying that. When God asks him, are you going to believe what I say? He says, yes. Not even hesitation. I know that you can't lie. And he does this all throughout the chapter. He just has these statements of faith. I know you have the power to do this. I know that you are the Son of God. I know that you have all power. And I know that you cannot lie. And that is how the brother of Jared's faith is manifest. He's talking to God, and he says, I know these things about you. I have faith that this is true. I've never seen you before, because remember, up until this chapter, he'd never seen God before. Every other time he's prayed to him, he was described as being in a cloud. And yet, he has such concrete knowledge that he's just like talking to God, and he's like, yeah, I know that you can't lie. I know this, I know that. I know you have power. And I just think that's inspiring. I just think that's great. And of course, not all of us are to that point where our faith crystallizes into this kind of sure knowledge. And yet, I think a lot of us are closer than we think. I think a lot of us need to give ourselves more credit. I've certainly had this issue. I actually want to tell a quick story. When I was thinking about getting endowed, I got endowed in the San Diego Temple right before it closed, actually, a few years ago. And I was wrestling with the question of, am I getting endowed now just because the most beautiful temple on the face of the planet is closing for who knows how long, and I just want to selfishly get endowed in that temple? Like, am I really spiritually ready? Am I really giving this the weight that it requires? Is this something that I'm just doing for myself? And I was kind of wrestling with this for weeks, and I just couldn't nail down an appointment just because I was afraid I was being selfish. And then a friend of mine came to me with this advice that stuck with me even to this day. And she said, the fact that you care so much shows that you have a lot more faith and spiritual maturity than you're giving yourself credit for. Just like the fact that you care about this, the fact that you're considering that you might be being selfish here, that shows that you are giving it the correct amount of spiritual weight, that you are treating it like it should be treated. And so I want to give that advice to you now. If you're agonizing over the fact that, oh, maybe you don't have enough faith, like, oh no, I can't go to the temple, I'm not good enough, then maybe the fact that you care so much, and the fact that you respect the temple so much, or respect whatever you're agonizing about so much to agonize about it, I don't know, maybe you have more faith than you're giving yourself credit for. So, anyways, that's some friendly advice from me to you. So yeah, that's the episode for today. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope this was a satisfying answer to the question that last episode ended with. So we're not on a cliffhanger anymore. God is real. He talked to the brother of Jared. Yay. We have glowing rocks now. But yeah, there's just one link down in the show notes that I want to let you know about. It's my link tree. It's where you can access not only the Book of Mormon online and for free, so you can go read it for yourself, which is a subtle hint, go read it for yourself, but you can also access my Instagram, YouTube, and Substack, my social medias. And you can also donate to me, because I do this for fun. I do this as a passion project because I love the Book of Mormon, and so anything you give will be greatly appreciated. But yeah, that's all I've got for you today. I'll talk to you later. Bye!